When you log into Hypixel Skyblock for the first time, it's very likely that you do so on the vanilla client. You'll go through your time and start the game just like you normally would, without bothering for any special features or special mods. But as you discover how complex the game is, you start to look for ways to make your experience better in the form of mods. And in today's video, I'm going to be answering, should you use Skyblock mods? You, as a new Skyblock player or as an experienced player, if you don't already use mods, should you use mods? Should you use a random client for Minecraft, or should you use just plain old vanilla? And it really depends on what you want. So before we get into it, please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to get to 9,000 subscribers, and every little helps, so please subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into the video. Okay, I'm back on my own profile, and I'm back with all of my modded features and stuff. And as you can see, it gets a lot easier to play the game with all of the mods and everything activated, for me at least personally. But let's start off with the basic argument. Vanilla. That you should pick the basic thing and just go with vanilla. It's the easiest, there's nothing to install, it's just already right there. So with vanilla, I've got a few problems with it, but it does have its own perks. So first of all, it's very basic, as I've said before. There's not really many Skyblock features that you can use that are more than what was just originally coded into the game. But it does have a very original feeling and makes you feel like you're just more playing Minecraft. There aren't as many fancy things happening on screen. And that can make Skyblock feel more just a normal world. And it's also the best client to protect yourself against mods from bannable modifications or anything that might happen like that, because, I mean, you're not using any, so they're probably not going to ban you for any of them. That doesn't mean you can't be banned for them, because, Watchdog is not always perfect, but it's at least a step in the right direction towards not having those type of problems. But the more compelling options for most people, if they're just looking for a simple solution, are in fact the two major clients, Lunar and Badline. And as you'll see, I definitely have a favorite among them that I would recommend to you. So Forge can be very taxing on your computer's resources, especially when you have a lot of mods enabled, because the more mods you're enabling, the more problems that you have to deal with. So it can be very hard on your computer's resources. And that is where these clients get very, very popular. Everyone can use them. So, for example, let's start off with Badline Client. I've got some problems with Badline Client. Maybe their ownership is the biggest problem for me, but, they still make a decent client, and not gonna really complain there, because this video is not about the ownership of the client, but whether it's good for Skyblock. So, it does contain quite a few helpful Skyblock mods, and it doesn't have all the most useful ones. It's normally a couple months behind Forge in terms of which mods it has, but they do actually tend to put a lot of effort into updating it. And another benefit is that there are already lots of Badline profiles that you can basically just install in basically 1 or 2 clicks, and that way you don't have to do any of the customization yourself, as Badline's menus when it comes to Skyblock mods can get a little bit convoluted in terms of what you're customizing. So you can just install a profile like that, and it will all come preset along with a bunch of helpful waypoints. Profiles like the 30 Virus Badline profile. He's one of the larger Skyblock YouTubers, and while he doesn't have a great reputation when it comes to some of the things he said, his Badline profile is honestly one of the better ones that you can install, in my opinion, based on what you need for Skyblock if you're going to go with that route. However, Badline does have some problems, meaning that it is kind of laggy. It does take up a lot of system resources, just like Forge. So if you have a laggier computer, I would really recommend going with Lunar Client or Vanilla, but Lunar especially will give you a lot more FPS in game and just make it a lot more playable if you're getting 10 FPS. So while Badline does have its problems, it's a great starter client if you don't want to have to go through installing a bunch of Forge mods. Moving on to Lunar, the Lunar Client is the best client for FPS in Hypixel Skyblock, in my opinion. It will make your computer run a lot faster, and it will just help you overall in terms of making your Minecraft playable if you have a slower computer. It only has a couple Skyblock features, and to be honest, they're not good. They're not that great, and I don't recommend using them, really. But the main advantage of this is if you've got a laggy computer, it will boost your FPS, and, that's really very important if you're just trying to have a playable experience, because if you're at 5 FPS, the jump to 30 or 45 is going to make a big difference. So yeah, I highly recommend you try out Lunar if you have a slower computer, just to see if it can increase your FPS like that at all. And the final one, which I might be a bit biased towards, is Forge. Because to be honest, I'm a big proponent of Forge and basically everything they stand for. They've got a great selection of basically every mod in Skyblock, and it lets you pick from the latest mod if you want to pay for mods, if you want to just use whichever mod is available. They let you do basically any of that. It offers the most customizability, the most flexibility, and is, in my opinion, the best way to play Skyblock. However, it is very taxing on your system resources, and can be very hard if you want to be able to do stuff that is much more system intensive on the rest of your computer, like recording stuff maybe, and doing stuff like that. Personally, I do a lot of that, but I just need to optimize it to make sure that I am getting a decent FPS in-game and on my recording. But if your computer's not powerful enough to do that, then I would recommend sticking to one of the higher FPS clients like Lunar, or even just Vanilla if you don't want to have to deal with mods at all. If you're having trouble installing Forge mods, I've got a bunch of videos on my channel, from in-depth installation tutorials for how to install all of the best mods, and just literally a one-click installation tool called Sky Client that will literally just install all of your Forge Minecraft mods for you for Hypixel Skyblock, and it's just really convenient and basically as easy as these other clients, except it has all the Skyblock mods, which is pretty good. So, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate all of you that watched it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.